Hey guys, Sean Demhart here, and I'm so excited and honored to have a few moments with you to talk to you about generosity. And I want to put forth an idea, an anchoring thought for this discussion right now. And I brought my tribe. We're going to be chopping it up. And here is the thought that generosity breaks barriers. Wow. Generosity breaks barriers. I want to just ground this conversation in Second Corinthians chapter 9, verses 11 to 12, which says, "You will be enriched in every way so that you can be generous on every occasion. And through us, your generosity will result in thanksgiving to God. This service that you perform not only supplies the needs of the Lord's people, but is also overflowing in many expressions of thanks to God." Our generosity, our act of giving and being generous, is a reflection of our expression of thanksgiving. So, in other words, as God has been faithful and as He has been ever present and blessed us, in turn, as an act of generosity, we are reflecting our thanksgiving to God. I'm so excited to have this conversation. Well, guys, I want to introduce you to my tribe. I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Greg.
Dad.
Dad.
And I'm Malik. I'm a second year law student at Toronto Metropolitan University.
Hi, I'm Michaela. I am a university graduate and I'm in film and media.
I am Kyle. I am studying human kinetics at University of Ottawa and I'm in my second year.
Okay. Well, guys, I got a question for you right off the top, especially you guys as young adults. I'd love to hear this answer. What are the barriers that we erect that keep us from Jesus and keep us from each other? I would love to hear. So, with you young guys, what are the barriers that keep people from Jesus, from knowing Jesus?
I would say the feeling of judgment. I feel like people feel like they're, especially as Christians, we like to talk about Jesus, but people feel like as they're like sinners and that they don't want to hear about it, and they're like, oh yeah, you're gonna berate us, you're gonna Bible thump us, So I would definitely say judgment and feeling judged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even to go off that, I would say religiosity, where people feel that they can't get to Jesus because there's rules in place, and they feel like they have to be whole to begin.
Yeah.
Whereas
That's
it's Jesus that comes to us.
That's good.
I'd say personal bad experiences throughout the church. Like if someone was affected by someone else in the church, they would like blame like that church or their whole religion just because of that, and then like a lot of people have different churches they go to or they change, and then eventually they stop going because of it, which is
So, like disappointment in church leaders,
exactly
church hurt.
Yeah.
Church hurt.
It's
Yeah.
big.
Sure.
Those are
Yeah.
big. Those are big ones right now. Greg, to you, what are some of the barriers that keep us from each other in society?
I think sometimes we're in this me generation, so everything is about my schedule and my routine. And I think sometimes we get so buried or caught up in what we do on a daily basis that we never break out of it to engage in other people. So I would say that'd be a huge barrier.
Yeah, and I think for me, I'm just going to do a bunch of rapid fire. I think, especially post pandemic, I think a lot of the barriers that are up now are fear, isolation, fear of the other, distrust. We have a lot of things that are keeping us kind of even more within ourselves, and I feel like generosity is going to break through that and allow us to connect with our community and our neighbors in real intentional ways. Okay, guys, here's another big question. Think about the whole idea of giving, like possessions. We always talk about the 3 T's: time, talent, treasure. So as you're giving these things that are valuable to you, what barriers can you see breaking down? We talked about generosity breaking barriers. How have you seen that in your own lives? Anyone?
I would say, well, for me personally, I've had problems with, I used to be very selfish. They can attest. You already know. I was like, this is mine, but God really turned that around within me, and He really pricked my heart to give, because giving is a selfless act. and God appreciates a cheerful giver.
That's good.
And yeah, I would say it helped me be selfless.
So your generous giving broke down like greed and
Yeah.
selfishness,
Yeah.
and self-centeredness, and all that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know for me, it was worry. Being a dad, having 3 kids in university, and worrying about the finances, worrying about law school, worrying about the kids' university, and son being away, and coming up with money for that sort of thing. Just not relying on God to really just take care of me and take care of the family, and just giving it all to Him. So I've had to learn to just release it and give God everything, because He will take care of you. And just to pull up a scripture here, Luke 12, and Jesus is really speaking to His disciples in this case, where He says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the ravens, they do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom or barn, yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable you are than birds. Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your life? Since you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest?" And for me, that was so relieving, just giving all of that to God. He's taking care of the very little ravens and the birds and flowers of the fields.
Yeah.
He can take care of this family.
Absolutely.
So for me, it was giving it all to God and just trusting in Him.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love
it's
how
good.
I would have never connected the two. That generosity actually broke down the barrier of worry, fear, and anxiety. That's huge. It's huge. Okay, well, I got another one. So as we're approaching this Advent season, and everyone's sort of leaning in, thinking about ways to do Advent maybe more intentionally, and to approach it in a fresh way. How do we as a family, what have you found, how do we connect even more with one another that is far deeper than just gift giving?
Oh, I know. I'd say definitely spending time with each other, like actual like family time, and like having deep conversations, and just showing appreciation and love to each other. Because gift giving could be so separated. They could be so distant.
Yeah.
But actually talking and spending time and showing each other their love could be just as big.
That's
if not
good.
bigger.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
That's good.
That's good. I'll even hop onto that. I'd say our devotion times.
Okay.
I love our devotion times.
Okay.
Times of prayer, and actually reading the Bible together, and also letting the Holy Spirit speak to us and give us revelations, that we can also share with others, right? And so devotion was number one. So I would say to you guys out there, for your families, I would say do some devotions, family devotions. That really stuck with me, and that stayed in my heart, stayed in my mind, and absolutely, it was just it was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah, sometimes I think gift giving can be a cop out, especially in the Advent season.
Right.
Where instead, I think the inverse of gift giving is actually invitation, inviting people or those to your church, or inviting those that may be alone during the Advent season to your dinner table. I think invitation.
And welcome.
Yeah,
right?
and welcome, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say those.
Can I just jump on that? I love that, because there were so many Christmases that we actually intentionally asked ourselves as a family, who can we invite that is lonely, it can't afford to be, to enjoy Christmas on the level they want to, that are maybe wounded or hurting or grieving. And it was some of the most beautiful times, just opening up our home and our hearts and our table. And that might be a wonderful way that you display generosity in this Advent season.
I know for our family, one way that we demonstrated that was just having communion. It was a wonderful experience. It's really bringing God, Jesus, into our presence in a sense. So when we have communion, we are inviting. It's a point of contact. It's a it's a place of meeting that we know that by doing this we remember why the Advent season is here and the whole reason for it, and it really just centers us back to Jesus himself.
Yeah, that's good.
Guys, I love all of these answers. I think for me, I think about ways that we can give more generously and receive more generously, and I think both of those are time. I love what you said, Mikal, and I just think about really quick my story. Ironically enough, around this time of Advent, it was in November that I literally was given the gift of time by an urban missionary. I many moons ago, when I was a young rebellious teenager, I was on and off the street, and an urban missionary literally met me every week and gave time to hear me out, to just let me vent, to have conversation, a hot chocolate, just conversation, and it changed my life. I met the love of God intentionally through the gift and generosity of time from this person, and it changed my life. So you just never know what your little can do, and I feel like that's we were talking earlier about so many times we think that what we're doing is so small,
Right.
but it has a great, huge impact.
For sure.
So I encourage you to think of doing things a bit different this season, to step away from the gift giving, to think about generosity in the way of time, connection, devotion, welcome and invitation of those in our neighborhoods. Think about young families that have just maybe had babies that you could do a meal train for. Think of new immigrants that have just come into your neighborhood. There are amazing ways that we can reflect the heart of God. And I want to end with this beautiful quote from John Wellesley, and he says this, and this is our commission today: do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people that you can, as long as you ever can. Well, if that's not clear, then I don't know what is. But as we move into this Advent season, can I encourage you to think of ways to reflect the heart of God and to see generosity as an act of thanksgiving that is transformative, not only in your life, but your families, and ultimately your neighbors and your community, and hopefully this city and country worldwide. One generous gift at a time. God bless you guys. Merry Christmas. Happy Advent from our family to yours.
Bye.